just like that, dancing in the new year.
A slow fade into the new year.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Happy New Year. How are
Happy New
you?
Year. Grateful.
Mm,
Grateful. I always think about earlier, what was I thinking about? Something that you had said that I include in every day, just how many little things, the ladies share and things
mhm,
that are useful that help us with our wellness that are really, we were talking about things that being interwoven earlier, things that are interwoven into
mhm,
my life. That's what I've been
mhm,
thinking about. What about you?
mm. Oh, yeah. I played a lot with weaving over the holidays because,
Yeah,
Cynthia and I have our usual she's one of my accountability buddies, Dr.
yeah,
Phelps,
yeah,
and for the past, I don't know, 5 years, we've done a mini retreat, and over this time, usually around the end of the year, first of the year, and so she came to town, and
mhm,
it was lovely to see her, and then we
yeah,
went to, Spa Land. And we did a day where we gathered all our wins and we talked about it with each other. And that was the weaving of like how we've woven like things together. And then we took a couple of days off and did task. And then we came back for another day. We were luxurious. We went to the spa twice. But for those of our listeners in Atlanta, we have these incredible Korean spas. So they're like $35.
yeah,
It's so doable, right?
yeah,
And, if you don't buy all the services, but, they have places to rest there, and they have places so we would go do a sauna, and then we would go dream, and so then I was weaving together, Women Connected in Wisdom and Connected Wisdom Press and Christine Gautreaux Consulting and Interplay and just really giving gratitude to, my life and the work that I've created in the world. Like, yeah, when you look
yeah,
at what we get to do and who we get to meet and be a part of, it's it's exciting.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I get it. I get it. And I love that you do that practice. And I love hearing about you and Dr. Phelps' trips and, how you're intentional about holding that space together every year.
Right? Yeah,
Mhm.
it is actually the space that got her to move from San Antonio, Texas to Asheville, North Carolina. It was one of
Happened.
our retreats there that, she was talking I mean, she'd been talking about it for years that she wanted to move, and I'm like, "Alright, well, then let's do it. Like, let's meet in a place that you might wanna move to." So one of our retreats after the pandemic was in Asheville, North Carolina, and, she made the decision to move there. And
Nice.
so, the power of community, we know from Manifesting Monday, like, the power of witnessing each other and our goals and our dreams and I think is so important. And this time of year everybody's thinking about goals and resolutions and things like that. And I don't do well with pressure. I like to ease in. I think that's why I like the let's look at the good, look for the good. Like what
Mhm.
worked? What worked and what do I want more of? Like on my spreadsheet for this, I have a what do I want more of in
Mhm.
2026.
Yeah.
Um, Now have you thought at all about what your word of the year is this year?
I was actually playing with the idea of not
Not
doing
doing a word
words
of
of the year, but this year is actually like a max out year. The goal is whatever you're doing, be consistent, right? And max out. Let's see where we get. And I
Mm,
haven't written down the goals and been through all my stuff. I want to go through my wins and challenges like we talk about.
mhm,
Um, but when I think about this year is maxing out and not settling the standard, not
mhm,
sacrificing the standard. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. What
mhm.
about you?
I think mine is gonna be anchor. And it's like what we've been doing for the past 5 years, what's been working in my life, I wanna anchor it in, and not like a ship anchor, but
Mhm.
more of like a tree, like the roots and rooted might actually be a better, but just go deeper with my projects and my work and in the world and yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking at, and, a lot of ease and flow and joy. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think all of that has to be woven in, so
Mhm.
it's,
Yeah, definitely on the same page. When I think about consistency and We talk about our communities and everything we've been doing over the last 5 years. I'm so excited for everything we have on the table. Um, and just to continue talking about what we've been doing and where we come from and how we do that well. And I love the conversation we're having today about environmental wellness, right? A lot of times around the holidays, we talk about family, where you come from. But one thing I was really excited about learning in my undergrad was that family is 1%, right? Nature is, well, excuse me, one third is 33% of who you are, right? And nurture, your environment, is 66. It's going to be two-thirds of the environments that you've been in that make up who you really are. And so thinking about what I want for the ladies and the men and everybody who listens to Women Connected and the legacy of what we're doing, you know, a lot of times it's deeper than the simple conversations that we're having. It goes back to how people feel about things, how they were taught to feel about things. And so I'm super excited to be talking about this after the holidays.
Mm, yeah, good stuff. We
Yeah.
probably should do our official intro. So Sati, hello, Sati, Happy New Year. Doesn't they go like, what?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know, we do what we want, you know? So let's do it. Let's do it. Hi, y'all. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur and Amazon bestselling publisher, author, and all natural product manufacturer. I'm a champion for your natural self-care, sustainable business care, and overall intentional wellness.
Hi, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, best-selling author and publisher, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself in community care.
Yes, together we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and the co-founders of Women Connected in Wisdom Community.
And we like to get together every week for intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness. How do we do this?
Yes, yes. So we could talk about a lot, but how do you feel about going ahead and jumping into the definition in our bio so we can have this conversation?
I love it. I want
Yeah.
to do the definition because I want to talk a little bit about it with the new year before we bring our guest on. But today, y'all, we're talking about environmental wellness. And our Women Connected in Wisdom definition environmental wellness is supporting your good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that enhance well being. It promotes interaction with nature and also creating enjoyable personal environments both in and out of your workspace. This includes knowing the types of environments you thrive in and having an intentional relationship with these places, including the earth. So I think about coming out of the holidays. I think about, like what did you do over the holidays? Were you with family? Were you decluttering? Were you like, I can tell you what I did. You want to go
Yeah.
first or you want me to
Yeah,
go?
I could go first. I
Go ahead.
was, it depends on, I was going to say it depends on how you look at it. Decluttering, hmm, it was kind of layered this year because we moved, you know, and the family has been here at this house for 47 years. So there's 47 years worth of memories and stuff, you know. Um, but I think that we specifically paused the decluttering projects for the holidays. But what that meant for me is that I had the opportunity to move Shalo Glow, right? So Shalo Glow is in the new headquarters up here in New Jersey as we work on those logistics. That was over the holidays, right before Thanksgiving. Um, but really, it's about family time and stopping because I'm so used to being in the hospitality industry. And when everybody else is relaxing, that's when you're on, you know? So everybody's off for the
Right.
holidays, you're on for the holidays. Like I'm used to being at work for New Year's. I'm used to be at work for these
Hmm.
different places. And it would depend on where I was. Sometimes places would be closed, but the bet is, well, everybody's off, you're on. So I like to be
Hmm.
off. And we were with family in front of the fire and, um, cooking and cleaning and, you know, I'm intentional about trying to block that time. So there was intentional
Hmm.
time off, time on, and family time and time for myself and us in between that too.
Nice.
Yeah. What
Nice.
about you?
Well, I think about when you were saying that, I get the image of the fireplace, like when we talk about environmental wellness. I love that. Like it just
Mm,
that cozy vibe and what we're creating. Yeah, I was home and I often am home for the holidays or I travel to family, but
yeah.
this year I was intentionally home for more weeks than I've been probably in years, which
Yeah.
has been lovely. So I've been decluttering, resetting,
Yeah.
I cleaned out, I took everything out of my office and I'm putting it back in. And
Yeah.
I am, yeah, I love this time of year, and it also I always think I'm gonna have more time than I do, 'cause, you wanna see people and people are off, and it's very relational time to me, but it's also time when I'm not in meetings to be able to get things done. So it was a yes, and. There was some good downtime, some good holiday movies, a lot of, projects that I've
Yeah.
been wanting to work on, and yeah, I think it was good. Good, and
Yeah.
I am trying to get my environment spruced up because I have been traveling so much the last couple of years that there are things that I need to shift
Okay.
in the way my system or resetting systems even, I reset my mail system. I reset which I got instant karma on that because 2 days later, I got a refund check that probably would have sat there for a week or 2 if my system hadn't been reset.
Beautiful.
It was
Nice.
good.
Good.
You wanna read our expert's bio and get her up here so we can have this convo?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, y'all. Today we are talking to Agatha Peters, and Agatha Peters is a Nigerian-American psychotherapist and the founder of Beautiful Sunshine Therapy. She's also the author of Trapped in Their Script: Reclaim Your Life from Narcissistic Parents and Cultural Expectations. She is dedicated to helping adult children of narcissistic parents, especially those from collectivist cultures where family loyalty often overshadows individual well-being. Having experienced the healing power of therapy herself, she is passionate about helping others discover the same transformation and and offers guidance on embracing one's identity while respecting cultural ties. Help us welcome to the stage Agatha Peters. Hi, Agatha.
Hi.
Hello, hello, hello,
And
welcome.
thank you for
Yes,
having me. Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So when I think about narcissism, I think about difficult situations. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about the work you do and what does it mean to break free from that if it's the environment that you were raised in?
Yeah. Um, Narcissism, it's very painful to live with a narcissist. And you know one personally. Um, and it you can break free from that environment for sure. In collective cultures, it can be much more tricky and much harder to do so. So this is why I work with victims in helping them through that process. And sometimes for them, it's not necessarily leaving that environment then, but how to work through it while you're still in it. So yeah. Huh.
Agatha, can you define for our listeners what narcissism is? And because I feel like a lot of us think we know, especially with our current administration, but can you like just give us the definition and what we should be looking for?
Yeah. So someone with a narcissistic, well, it's a personality disorder. It's part of the DSM. It's what will be under cluster B. So it would go alongside like borderline personality, stonic, uh, saying that wrong, personality disorder, narcissistic, anti social personality, those kinds of stuff. It is a personality disorder. Um, so it's not something everyone just has, you know. But in our society, we're in US particularly, we're told that everyone has this. Well, it feels like, or at least this is what's brought up so often. But when individuals with uh, that have parents that are narc or narcissists, long way of putting it, they experience sort of like depression and anxiety, PTSD, can go to feelings of suicidal ideations, or even wanting to end their life and plan. Same as wanting to hurt the person that did this to them in such a yeah. It can leave a child really feeling helpless. So that parent is typically they just don't know how to love in a healthy way. Their love is very conditional. very self-centered. It's really about them. They there's a huge lack of empathy. They cannot empathize with that child. Um, it- lots of control and manipulation as well. Which then comes with the gaslighting, and that's just they also lie, and they will make up false lies. They'll even tell their kids to lie, certain situations. It's really, and you see a pattern of this. They're just not capable of loving a child in a healthy way at all. So, which leaves the victims in those vulnerable. Yeah. So they come in, and it's interesting. I would say a lot of my clients don't even know that their parent are narcissistic, or they're with someone. So unlike what is out there in the internet, everyone, oh, look at and they just show up, right? Versus it's usually something is wrong with me. That's what I hear coming in. Is there's something wrong with me and I need to change myself. And that's that feeling of not being good enough no matter what they've done. And because that narcissist makes you feel that way. So I go through a line of questions, like any other like depression, things like that, after building that trust relationship. And then the person in that situation would say something along the lines like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, that's all me. What is that? Like, what is that called?" So it's that aha moment they get. Yeah.
Well, and I hear you about it being so painful, like, especially when the parent or the person you're supposed to love them that's supposed to love you the most doesn't have the capacity.
Right.
Now, I heard you really say, especially about your work and when somebody's in a collective culture, that how I'm trying there's so many questions rising up in my brain right now, but, like, how does somebody survive still being in it?
Yeah.
No, we've labeled it, right? Or
Yeah.
say one of our listeners is listening and goes, "Oh, yeah, my mom is a narcissist, my dad, whoever,
Mhm.
and I'm caregiving them, or
Yeah.
I'm still in relationship with them, or I'm" what would you and I know there's so many things you would tell somebody in a therapeutic relationship, but
Yeah.
what would be one thing that you would recommend that they do for themselves in this situation?
Mhm. Allow your time to yourself. If you can, personal space, the more distance you can give yourself, the better, even in the same home. If you can, that's where I would start. It's giving yourself that time. And even if there is a space where that narcissist is with you, still create it where you can have interpersonal centering, and you can give yourself, that safety in a way, um, where, it feels a little bit like you can have you can breathe. Because when you're with this narcissist, it oftentimes feel like you can't, you don't have they make it where they take up the room, they take up the space, they take up everything. Um, so a lot of people feel trapped by that alone. So that's one of the things. I have a lot of people in Asian communities too, like, especially with the Indians, where they still are a whole multi-generational household and there's a narcissist there. Um, and again, why just cut ties don't work for people like that in these communities. And it just goes, yeah, this very we're a group in collective cultures. Everything kind of run in a group kind of situation versus individualistic culture where it's I can go and pull myself by the bootstrap kind of thing.
And we often see the pros of that, right? When you look at those, you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's so lovely." And what I'm hearing you say is a yes and. It's lovely
Yeah.
unless we got somebody with a personality. And then how do we do that? Like,
Yeah.
how do we navigate that
Mhm.
and keep some healthy boundaries for
Mhm.
ourselves?
Mhm. Mhm. Keeping conversation very superficial. I think a lot of these cultures too, we're taught to you just want to tell them a lot of things and your personal life, but whatever the narcissist gets from you is what they're going to use to harm you. So, um, which is hard in a household where it's your mother, it's your father. You everything about a child is wanting to get that approval, right? Even when we're adults, we're still that child internally. So you really want that approval, want to share your success, but you realize you tell them I got a job and they say, well, why didn't you get a better one? So everything is just it's nothing is good enough. So then that if you already had depression by then, it just triggers it even more. See, I am not good enough. I'm worse, feeling worse. So a lot of that self sabotage to me just go back down. Oh, maybe I don't need the job. Like, and then it creates that not being able to leave, right? Because then you can't work. You can, it's a whole thing. So, um, keeping it superficial as much as you can. How was your day? Great, but you don't need to go into about every single detail of your day.
Yeah, that makes sense. I
Mhm.
was looking at some of your work and what you do with helping people reclaim their voice. Can you talk a little more here, right? Because like when I think about different work environments, and I remember this specific time as a kitchen manager, I was really struggling. I was like, you guys want me to be somebody else. Like this is how I communicate. I
Mhm.
fought to learn how to communicate. I'm trying to communicate with the team and I was trying to figure out how to work with all these people. And I think that there's a balance between what you're talking about and superficial, cordial conversations, right? And still saying what needs to be said because you're in this collective community, right? You're in a team
Which
group.
is hard.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so when you're supporting your clients on that voice and them staying in
Mhm.
communication, what does that look like when it is details that the family has to talk about or the team has to talk about and it's not
Mhm.
just superficial?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think with narcissists, you have to take the emotional part out of it.
Mhm.
And that's what we work on a lot in therapy. And that's really, really hard because, especially when we're not narcissists. That's the
Right.
hard thing. We aren't. We want to be able to connect with humans. We want to be able to love people, and we think that people should be able to love us back because that's what we're given. But they can't. They cannot love you. They're not capable, and that's the realization there. It's whatever you're given is what's gonna be used, to
Against
hurt
you.
you. And I've seen so many it can become very detrimental for a lot of my clients. So and we're emotional beings. That's what we want to talk about life. We want to talk about the things that are challenging to us, but think about it in so many different. I work through life as um, me personally. Um, is this going to be beneficial? Or am I going to solve this problem? I sit in, if I'm sitting at a table and there's a not very kind person next to me and they say something that is really politically triggering, is that the place to have it? Will that change that person's mind at that particular time? Right? Like you have to, versus if you're an advocate for someone that isn't able bodied. And okay, well, maybe I can do something about it. This will change. So it's really thinking about what is going to be the gain in that situation. If you have a narcissist in your life, is it going to repair anything? Are you going to get that validation, which is what we tend to look for when we're talking about emotional things? We want
Right.
validation. Chances are you won't. It will tear you down.
And that's a hard realization,
Yeah.
right? It's a hard one. Agatha, in your book, I know we mentioned it in the intro, but I want to give a shout out to it again. In the Trapped in Their Script, Reclaim Your Life from Narcissistic Parents and Cultural Expectation. Hold it up one more time. I need to see the cover. Oh,
It's beautiful.
awesome.
Thank you.
We know, as authors ourselves, we know how big of a deal it is to write a book.
So,
What was your journey? Like, what inspired you to write this book?
well, growing up in Nigeria and coming to the US, growing up, I always had challenges, yeah, due to environment as well as the narcissists in my life. And then coming to this environment, it was named for me at such an early age. That was before all this Instagram, all this stuff. And I did not even know what that is. And I remember sitting with my therapist, and it was white woman, um, and wanting to just jump on top of her, like, what are you talking about? This is not my parent. Like, no, 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 no. Um, and that's just who we are. We want to protect those that we love, and it's part of our culture. We're just, it's a lot of kids. You just grow up wanting to do that. And even though I didn't really know the definition, but again, it was me. It had nothing to do with anyone. I'm the problem. So if I can just be perfect, everything will be great. Don't you know? This is, um, but and I realized in these situations there was also no help for people that came from cultures like myself. The books that were out there weren't really helpful. Um, and my therapist didn't really know how to really support me in that kind of way that I needed support. Um, but helped me in so many other ways, so great. But just not in that culturally responsive way that I needed. Um, so as I got through it, decided to major in my field of practice, just to help others, and also change my narcissist because I can do that. So you think. But after years of work, years of self-acceptance and what it is, and healing journey, I decided to shorten it for people a great deal. Right now.
Mm. So I'm hearing you say you took years of therapy and research and your journey to put it into kind of a how-to for folks,
Yeah.
especially folks from collective cultures.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And a lot of my friends are therapists too, and colleagues, they really find the book very beneficial in how they walk around with their practice and how they can use it within, um, yeah. So,
I think about it because my background is in social work and clinical social work, and I was trained as a therapist, and there wasn't anything like this.
mhm.
Now, I was going through that 30 years ago, but, there was not a even the words about collective culture, we
Right.
barely touched on it. So to not
Mhm.
only have a resource that talks about that, but talks about the dysfunction and how as therapists and helpers we can meet that
Mm,
and help our clients, I think is brilliant.
thank you.
So, yeah, thank you. No.
Yes. I talk about a lot with, my teams and stuff, which you talking about the space. And I
Mhm.
don't know if I've, like, figured out a word for it. I usually call it your secret garden. Like, you need to build your secret garden, right? And one of my team members at my last position in Georgia, hers was her bed. I was like, it doesn't have to be your garden, like wherever you're comfortable, like you need to
Yeah.
build that space for yourself. What would you call it? A safe place? What would you do? Is there anything specific that you usually give framework to help your clients walk through that exercise?
So a lot of my clients that don't have a safe space, they don't even know what that means. When I do breathing work with clients and I say, one of my practices is just that meditation, like go somewhere that feels happy or safe or imagine a safe place even before and they're just like, what? It's just foreign, right? Um,
Hey, y'all, this is a great place to take a break, take a deep breath, and hear from our awesome sponsors that make Women Connected in Wisdom podcast possible. Shannon, we are so grateful that Shayla Glow is the sponsor of the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. And I wanted to take this moment to ask you, when you think about the people who use Shayla Glow, who are we talking about?
That's a good question. I think about 3 groups really. One, the group that's removing hair, right? So whether you're using laser hair removal, waxing, shaving, you got to make sure that you're putting back what you're taking out. The second group, I think about those with dry skin and the problems that that might cause, right? The scars, itching, burning, whatever the situation is, you definitely need all 3 steps, right? The exfoliation, making sure you're taking the dead skin cells off. The oil, putting in the moisture, and then the shea butter with the aloe, sealing it, helping you heal. Those things help both groups, right? And third, for the third group is those with chronic illness. You know, the story is personally from cancer and different diseases that our population is dealing with on a daily basis throughout families as individuals. So I'm thinking about my mom and my grandmother and those around me with the same generational ties, right? And what positive, healthy habits we can start to make sure that we're maintaining our wellness, especially because the skin is like the cape, the exterior, the shield for your immune system. So with COVID, we have to be intentional about covering ourselves. And those are the groups I think about.
I love it. And you know what else I love about your product? It's all natural, handmade, and it smells great, y'all. So
yes,
yay.
Tested. Yes, esthetician tested and approved. Yes. What about you? When you think about your company, what groups of people do you think about?
Well, you know, I work with individual coaching clients, I work in community classes, and with corporate teams. And with all of them, I use a strength-based, embodied approach to help folks connect with themselves and access joy, reduce burnout, and build resilience. You know, especially during these times, I think we need it. I think we need all the hashtag partnership power we can get.
Yes.
And that's really what it's like living with a narcissist. There is no safe space. It just doesn't exist. So we have to sort of find one. I have to give exercises of, well, it's nice in Oregon. Why don't we go to, waterfalls, like something really easy. You can just walk down to Mount Number Falls and just quiet everything out there and just be in tune with nature. And when we go back to, when we need to use that tool again, like breathing, we can think about that as a happy space, as a safe space, as a place that feels calm and peaceful. But giving them that moment, and it might not be the waterfall. It could be that you like gardens. Go to Rose Garden and sit down for a little bit. It could be that you like the beach. Go to Cannon Beach. Look at it just for a little bit, and just lock that in your memory.
Yeah. So when you think about, because again, a lot of things can be buzzwords around therapy, around narcissism, with everything and the way that we're having conversations right now. I know you mentioned the DSM and the fact that it's categorized as a personality disorder. When you think about that line and somebody's like, I'm having a difficult time with my boyfriend XYZ, I don't know if he is missing some emotional intelligence or if I'm dealing with a bigger situation. How do you start walking somebody through that so they know where on the level of severity they're from?
That takes a while to know in therapy, but because everyone comes in now just thinking someone is a narcissist and they end up being the narcissist. Ooh, boy. Yeah, we started. So, it's hard conversation to have with my clients.
Are you a narcissist, right?
In therapy, because narcissists do not want to be called out as a narcissist. So I need to understand the patterns of behavior. I need to understand what they are seeing more in those relationships. Is it a public display? Or is it just in private? Most times in narcissistic relationship, it's usually only in private. And then they have a different if someone is an a-hole, can I say that? With everyone, they're going to just stay being that. That jerk that's just annoying everywhere, and maybe had stuff going on. Who knows? In their background, but oftentimes narcissists have a target individual, and they tend to make that person, um, life very, very traumatic, like just constant. It's almost it is being a punching bag for someone, but you're not constantly using that, right? So once you're done, you feel really good and you go outside, if you're punching, or right, doing all of this, and you're so nice to everyone. And when they're inside, the mask tends to come off, right? Um, and the person being a jerk to everyone might just be someone with a drinking problem, might just be someone that is just not getting enough love, whatever. Or it just might be a season in your life that they just lost their parent, and they're just being a jerk, whatever that might be, right? Versus seeing someone off again, on again.
Right. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
It's important. Mm. So when you think about environmental wellness, and I had to look up collective community, right? Like, what is collective community versus individualistic, and what are the
Yeah.
things on this list? When we talk about other things, if you cannot leave that, if it is your family, we're talking about parents and whoever else it might be in different cultures. We talked about a safe place. We talked
Mhm.
about breathing techniques.
Mhm.
Um, I know something else that I've done, if it's work or whatever, in an environment where I need to say the whole story and I don't feel like
Mhm.
there's space, the safe space to say it,
Mhm.
sometimes journaling and write out what happened so you can just get
Mhm.
it out, right? What else would you tell people? Because I think that we see these things in work environments in different places where you might not
Mhm.
just opt out. What else can we do to make sure that we're very well taken care of?
If you can find a community, there's always someone that is going through something.
Yeah.
It might not be exactly similar, but s- y- someone that can be an ally. It feels good, to just have a breathing room again. Just we can build those communities ourselves. It can be hard, but you can find someone or people that you can have that relationship with. Yeah, when you don't have a healthy relationship, you just need a place to go to for a little bit, and then yeah.
Yeah. So I would love to go here too, thinking about your book
Mhm.
and stuck in their scripts. When you were
Trapped
talking,
trapped
excuse
in.
thank
Yeah, you're basically stuck in there
you,
too.
thank you, trapped in their scripts. Right.
Yeah.
And it's the mode of operating and the story and how you feel about yourself that you're used to being told. When you talk about somebody naming that for you, what was your experience like realizing that, hey, this is a script. This is somebody else's script. Was it clear the whole script? Was it like a lie that you realized was not your truth? What was that like for you as you transitioned through that?
Here's a hard one. Um, that's as I being trapped in your script is oftentimes this parents, yes, they want you to be exactly, they're molding you in a way. That's why it doesn't really fit, right? Because I don't know what you're thinking and everything that, as a human being. Um, and with these people, they tend to give you something, whatever it is that they're lacking inside, or what they haven't seen to accomplish, or their idea of perfectionism and things like that. And they put that on you.
Okay.
And you can't ever seem to reach that. So, um, while going through that is just that realization that this is not my story. This is for them. This is theirs. Um, and it takes that away from me too. I cannot give that to it's just impossible. um so I don't know if that answers your question very, very well, but
I do hear what you're saying.
and you
So
can rewrite it. It's almost as though I'm rewriting that script, and that's part of this. It's how do you rewrite it? You don't
right.
have to stuck in, you can make it your own script from
Absolutely.
here on. Mhm.
Yes, and I think that's what's necessary. We talk about the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. When you realize you're miseducated, then you gotta break it all down and rebuild it. So
Mhm.
what do you wanna see in your life? We talk about living the life that you fight for, so I hear you saying those things of being intentional about what it looks like for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have to be it forever. I mean, you get to rewrite it.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, what we have up here on the screen is our wisdom in action. And Agatha, every week we talk specifically to our guests about what are you doing for yourself. We do a lot for our clients, right? We talked about all the difficult things you support them through, but for yourself in your own environmental wellness this week, what do you have on the table?
Ooh, I'm hiring a cleaner
Nice.
because I can't do it all, and it's
Okay.
okay. That's that's okay. I'm getting help. I think
I support you in that 1000%, Agatha.
Me too.
yeah,
When I was going through the pandemic, I would tell my friends, "I just need a moment alone and a clean house," and that was my mantra, and because everybody had moved home, and I was supposed to be an empty nester, and one of my friends one day when I was saying that, she goes, "You know, you can have one of those." I was like, "Which one?" And she said, "Hire somebody to clean your house." And I was like, "What?" Because I just wasn't raised that way, and I was like, "Wait, what?" "Oh,
Mhm.
okay." I support you 1,000%. It was the best decision I ever made.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to it. Yeah. You don't have
Good.
to do it all.
No.
Right? And
Mhm.
can I tell you a thing I do for myself? I schedule I schedule 30 minutes after my cleaner leaves or an hour after my cleaner leaves with nobody else in the house so I can have a cup of tea and sit on my couch and breathe in my clean house.
I like that.
'Cause you got little kids too, so it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
gonna stay that way.
Yeah. Oh,
So
no.
and I got yeah, so I just would recommend that too, just to
Yeah.
schedule some you time to just soak it in
Oh,
and just yeah.
ah,
So,
oh, that sounds great.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my happy place.
Reminds
Nice. It's on the way.
Right,
Yeah.
right? Shannon, what about you? What's your wisdom in action this week?
Hmm. Let's see. I would say, hashtag writing the New Jersey script. Right?
Mm.
Because we're talking about scripts and where we are, and as I move, it's a new year. And I try not to do New Year's resolutions. I try to be consistent, but we're
Mhm.
still mindful. It's really a huge opportunity of what do you want it to look like? What do events for women
Mhm.
connected in wisdom look like by the beach? What do they look like, for this year? And so I'll say, write your New Jersey script.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Love it.
Mhm.
Thank you. What about for you?
Love it. Mine is gonna be hashtag resetting systems for environmental wellness because I'm in the middle of a couple of big projects and I'm gentle with myself because I pulled everything out of my office. So now I'm resetting it, but I'm resetting it in the way that, what's gonna work this year, what's new and feels good. And, I reset my tea station, which had been kind of out of commission for a while. So I'm trying to weave in the joy with the work,
Yeah,
and part of that for me is resetting my office systems for sure.
absolutely.
So,
Oh, I love to
Mhm.
hear that for you. I know
Right.
I think about, what you say about traveling and the setup and being back, and I
Mhm.
know it's a whole thing, so I hear you on the tea setup.
right?
Okay.
It really is. Oh, and you even saying that. I'm like,
Mhm.
did I order that travel backpack? Now I gotta look it up.
Put on a
Um,
to-do list. It's okay.
I'm putting on my because I started to, but did I get
Yeah.
distracted? That's part of my systems is what's broken and needs to be repaired or replaced, right? That's the kind of thing I'm looking at too this time of year. But
I
Nice.
love it. And don't forget your warranties because they might be able to send you some of that stuff and, you not have to pay for
right?
it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I appreciate
Agatha, we know you're gonna have to take off soon to pick up
Yeah,
a
you do.
kiddo, but
Yeah.
how can folks find you or learn more about your work and tell folks what's just getting released? Tell our audience.
Ooh, my audiobook has just got released, so you don't have to buy the whole book. I mean, just costs less than a cup of coffee. So, yeah, just go on and get your audiobook on Amazon, or I believe it's everywhere books are sold online as well. So, tap in your script. And
Well, I can imagine, I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, if you're living in a household that has a narcissist, you might not wanna read the book that has the title on it, but you could put it in your earpods, you know? And
yeah, yeah. But there's exactly, you can have it in your earport. And sometimes they don't even know if you're a narcissist, so it's okay. A lot of
oh,
times,
okay. Well, that's true.
no,
I think you're talking about somebody else.
so you're like, wow, this is they won't know.
I won't.
Yeah, they don't have that sense of realization.
Well,
Yeah.
we will make sure and put links to it in our show notes. So if you are driving and listening to this, don't worry. You can find it on our show notes, click through. We are so grateful for your wisdom and your expertise, Agatha. And thank you, because
Yes.
I don't think we've had a conversation about narcissism on the show. And
Not specifically.
Yeah.
overdue at
But
212 episodes. So.
on my website, Beautiful Sunshine Therapy, you can find me there. Beautiful Sunshine Therapy.
Yes, and we scrolled that earlier, but I will put it up again real quick so folks can see it. Beautifulsunshinetherapy.com, and we'll also have that in the show notes. So thank you so much for your time today. We know you got to go pick up kiddos, but it was delightful to have this conversation with you, Agatha.
Yes, thank you guys. You take
Absolutely.
care. Enjoy the rest of your things.
Thank
Will
you.
do. So good,
So important.
right?
Yeah, it's one of my biggest things. We talk about women connecting in wisdom is women and people feeling like they're worthy, knowing that they're priceless the way they are. If you need help, there's resources out there for you to be connected to. And if you're not in a safe place, how do you create that for yourself as you bridge to the community that you're looking forward to building?
Right, and also representation. It's important that you've got therapists that look like you or come from the same cultures that you do, and, I love that because I heard her very clearly say, it was hard for her at first.
Mhm.
So mm,
And I love that we talk about being trauma informed. I think about it, as a Black woman with you as my business partner, and we're out here in the world, episode 212, talking about resources. How is somebody going to feel when they come to Women Connected? But we are trauma informed responders. We are coming to understanding that we don't understand the positions that we haven't been in, that some positions we'll never
mhm,
be able to be in, Um, but I've shared on the podcast my experience with my therapist uh, through COVID, and Breonna Taylor had gotten shot in her bed like Fred
mm,
Hampton, or at home like Fred Hampton. I'm like bringing it up, and she skated right over it.
mm,
She wasn't trauma informed.
mm,
And that's okay,
right?
and so we had the opportunity to keep going. But it's important. It's important to make sure that you have everything you need to feel safe in the places that you're going to feel safe. And that's also why I love what I learned over the years of vetting people out. Try you might have to try 5 to 6 professionals, whether they're CPAs, therapists,
Mhm,
massage therapists, go ahead and get a list. And it's not you being super broken or you not being fixable if this person wasn't a safe place for you to have a
mhm.
conversation. So, yeah, it was a great
Yeah, and
conversation.
listening to your body, checking in and listening to your body, I think is really important too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I love that Agatha took her experience and created this amazing book out of it that now is helping, I'm sure, thousands of people. So that's really cool.
Yes.
Any shout outs we want to give to folks for the new year or anything we need? I love that she said that about her audiobook because if you haven't heard, we have volume 2 out with our
Double deal.
audiobook, which is
Mhm.
exciting. So that can be in your ears as you're jogging or cleaning house or doing whatever you're doing, listening to our Women Connected in Wisdom.
Yeah. And again, y'all, this volume 2 is leaned towards the mental and emotional wellness. We have a goal every time of how many authors we have in each category. And this time it was leaned towards that. And during the time that it came out, and now even with the time of the audiobook, it feels right on time. with where, the support is needed. And like I said earlier, I'm thinking about these ladies on a daily basis, whether it's Dr. Amanda Kemp talking about how it's okay to go slow at the end of the book, or Sula Milstead talking about use whatever self-care works. It's a lot with Shayla Glory talking about sugar scrubs, oils, shea butters. Depending on where you are, it might be a reason you don't use one or the other, but use what works. And that's a first step, And so I think it'll benefit you in a list of ways. And I was thinking about Melody LeBaron's question when we went on her show talking about our project. And she was like, how will listeners feel when they listen to the book? And my updated answer with my 2020 vision looking back is it depends on where you are with the context of what we're talking about, right? But hopefully you'll feel seen and community and like you have some actionable resources to walk away with.
I love you calling Melody's name. Her birthday was January 1st. I had a quick conversation with her. And, she talks about transforming space and
Yes,
as
she
a
does.
professional organizer and a grief consultant and how all of that. I was really calling on her energy as I'm cleaning up things. And she was so cute because I called her to tell her I was doing it. She's like, I wish I was there. That's so much fun. Which is
Yes.
not my first response, honestly. I'm
Yeah.
decluttering an I love the results, but
I
yeah,
understand.
it was great calling her name, so
Yeah, happy
absolutely.
belated birthday.
Right, right,
Yeah.
and I know we've got others that we're connected to that we may have
Right.
missed birthdays
Oh, of
but
course.
connect with us y'all on social media and let us know what your projects are this year. What are you excited about? What are you wanting to share in our community? Like, tag us and we'll share what you're up to if you're a woman connected in wisdom.
Yeah, we will. Okay, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 112 and welcome to
Wait.
2026.
Episode what?
112.
212.
Oh, I'm taking 100 episodes off. I knew there was some type of what is it called? Symmetry that I was missing. 212. That's what it was. I wrote it down wrong. Yep. Thank y'all for joining us from episode 112 to 212, okay? And we will be back live at 5 Eastern Standard Time next week. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. Peace.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. On air live on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern via Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be part of the conversation and get connected at womenconnectedinwisdom.com.